Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Geek Out Special Report. I am joined finally for the first time in some time, about 2 weeks, with my cohort and partner in crime on the G Show, G95, my right hand. What's up, Matt?
I've missed this place.
Yeah, you've missed this place, missed this space, we've missed your face. Speaking of space, nitty gritty, this is a special report. You weren't on the past 2 weeks. I don't think the Game of Thrones topic in the drunk cast even concerned you, so that was cool. But you do have your opinions on it, and we're gonna get to that. But before we do, let's start with the reason why I wanted to do this impromptu Geek Out podcast, and that is the news of J.J. Abrams confirmed to be writing and directing Star Wars Episode 9. Wow. Who would have fucking thought that would have come back around to JJ? So, I'm throw this over to you, Matt. What are your thoughts on this?
It was I would say, pleasant surprise, honestly, because obviously Colin Trevorrow got fired not even a week ago, and we already have his replacement, and I don't know, it's kind of fitting that it's ending with who it started with. And that's kind of cool. Like, lineage is obviously a very important thing to the higher ups at, Kathleen Kennedy and the folks handling Star Wars and Lucasfilm and stuff. So I think it's fitting. I'm not one of those JJ haters out there. A lot of people seem to be pretty upset. But I love Force Awakens. I thought it was a great movie, so sure, let's give the guy another shot. I mean,
yeah, I'm totally on board with you. I love The Force Awakens too, and I get it. I get the similarities to A New Hope. My hope, my only hope, is that as much as Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie, I don't want to see a repeat of Return of the Jedi. There don't need to be a Starkiller Base 20 times the size of Starkiller Base. I think it's overkill and redundant. And I mean, I don't know how much we could say foresight, but if JJ had foresight into this and saw this coming, I doubt we would have had a Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens, and it would have served a bigger purpose in whatever Episode 9 is going to be, because now it's like the end-all, be-all ultimate weapon, but because I felt like he shot his load in The Force Awakens, this has to be nothing but Jedi versus Sith madness, and just kind of like Revenge of the Sith. There's really no super weapons around. It's just Jedi versus Sith. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I did like the way he handled Rey and Kylo Ren at the end of The Force Awakens. And we know Rey is getting her training on in The Last Jedi. So she's going to be really, really nice now. Or so we hope. But I would love to see what JJ can do with that, Rey and Kylo Part 2 or Part 3, depending on how we look at this. What are your thoughts?
You're not excited about the prospect of a super Starkiller Base?
I will shoot you. I will shoot you where you stand. Through the computer. No, it's terrible. Why? Why would we even deal with it? It's bad enough.
Well,
Did you see that ship? Ugh.
Yeah, the new Snoke's ship that's like 60 times larger than a Super Star Destroyer or something like that.
Yeah.
Or 20 times larger.
That's
just insane.
Yeah, that's already like the size of the original Death Star. It's like, do we really need more? Like that ship is going to crash on Jakku. Watch. It's going to blow up on Jakku.
Well, apparently that ship is like a mobile refueling thing for other Star Destroyers. So it's like a giant aircraft carrier for space.
Okay, I like that idea, actually. I like that a lot. I tried to stay away. I saw the picture.
It's like a mobile capital for Supreme Leader Snoke, apparently. Like, that's his main base.
It's Spaceballs 1. That's what that is. It's Spaceballs 1. It's going to turn into Mega Maid. Oh, man. No, so yeah, what do you think? Like, what are your thoughts? What do you think JJ is going to do to wrap the whole thing up? We're not going to see another giant, like... Because Return of the Jedi had 3 battles going on simultaneously, and for me personally, all 3 of them worked. It's my favorite space battle to date. Like, nothing has... Rogue One has come the closest to capturing the magic of that space dogfight in Return of the Jedi for me. I haven't felt anything like that, unless we're talking about some of the books. Like, I thought the original Thrawn trilogy had some really cool dogfights that I could visualize. Some of the new Jedi Order stuff with the use of Vong had some pretty cool dogfights that I could imagine. But as far as being on film, Return of the Jedi is it for me. I mean, it was just perfect. And again, you had, not only that, you had the land battle with the ground troops, trying to shut down the shield. And then you had Luke versus Vader 2 in the Death Star with the Emperor egging them on. It was just such a great crescendo. I mean, we haven't seen The Last Jedi yet, but, like, what do you think, like, hypothesize right now, what could we possibly get that's going to blow anything we've seen away in the Star Wars universe?
Well, I mean, we have, like you just said, we have no idea what's going to happen in Last Jedi. So what happens in Last Jedi could drastically alter our opinions of what might happen in Episode 9 right now. Since this just got announced today, and since we haven't seen Last Jedi, it's unfair for us to compare what JJ is going to do in Episode 9 to what he did in Force Awakens, and compare Episode 9 to Return of the Jedi and to Revenge of the Sith, because while Force Awakens was similar to New Hope, doesn't necessarily mean that Episode 9 is going to be similar to Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Or, they're going to find a way to wrap up their trilogy. And, just because JJ is directing 2 of this new trilogy doesn't mean what happens in Last Jedi isn't going to count. That's not just a middle step. That's, it's an important thing. So it's really about 2 years premature for us to even really start speculating.
Oh, it is.
Or at the very least 3 months until Last Jedi comes out.
Absolutely right. Now, I saw that they pushed this back to December 2019. I think that's great. What do you think?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
That movie's going to break box office bank. I mean, again, The Force Awakens, that made so much money opening weekend, and then the money just kept rolling in and rolling in and rolling in. And for all the JJ naysayers, the movie made money. It
was filmed in theaters only a month before it dropped on home video.
Exactly. Exactly. That's fucking insane, man. And that wasn't even with a re-release. Like, Wonder Woman just got a little re-release. And Wonder Woman comes out, I think, next week, if I'm not mistaken. But, that's insane. That is insane. So, I think this has the potential of being the biggest Star Wars movie ever, opening, money-making, of everything. Especially if, Jesus, Rian Johnson doesn't kill Luke. Now here we go. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. It's speculation game time. Does J.J. Abrams kill off Luke Skywalker? I mean, I think we're pretty assured that Carrie Fisher is going to bow out in The Last Jedi. I think that's a finality. I think we're going to see the end of Princess Leia. And hopefully it's done with style, substance, and grace, unlike Han Solo and his unceremonious death scene. But I think it's safe to assume that The Last Jedi will be the last time we see Princess, a.k.a. General Leia. Do you think they wrap this new trilogy by killing off the old guard and ushering in the new guard? Or do you think we can hopefully have Luke survive. And then if you want to flash forward 10, 15 years later and Luke is, he died of natural causes, fine. We don't have to see that. What are your thoughts?
Totally. Kill him off.
Fuck you. You're the worst.
That was the old guard. As much as I love Luke, as much as I love Han, as much of a tragedy was that we lost Carrie Fisher, they are the old guard. They're from the original trilogy. Now we're in the sequel trilogy, and I'm sure that The Last Jedi is going to start planting the seeds for the second sequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy to the sequel trilogy, because Disney's not going to stop. You're out of your fucking mind if you think they're going to stop after Episode 9. Disney said they said in something a couple of years back they will never stop making Star Wars movies. And I mean, so you got to plant the seed somehow. You got to get it ready somehow, and you can have characters cross over from the sequel trilogy into whatever comes next, and that'll be just pass the torch on through that lineage. Just have each generation just kind of pass it down through the ages, and that that's, I feel, fitting storytelling. I mean, that happens. This is just a weird example that is off the top of my head, but so Nightmare on Elm Street 3, that Heather Langenkamp, forget her character's name.
Nancy.
Nancy passed the torch on to this next generation, like the 3 or 4 kids that survived, and then they all died in Part 4, and some of the survivors in Part 4 pass it on to people in Part 5.
Alice is the only one that survives Part 4 and 5.
So, I mean, well, it's been a while since I've seen any of the the bad Nightmare movies.
Yeah, no, I grew up with them, so yeah, it always stays in my brain.
But yeah, I mean, that's they passed the torch down through these movies, and that's one example. I mean, I'm sure there's much better examples out there, but that's just what I would like to see.
So you're okay with killing off Luke Skywalker?
Probably, because by the time the sequel trilogy wraps up, his story should be done.
You're as evil as a Sith Lord. A Sith Lord? Absolutely.
I did read the Sith Handbook, so...
No, see, but, all right, so here's where I got to argue with you. I don't think Luke's story is wrapped up. Here's the thing. Luke's arc is finished, but Luke as a teacher to usher... See, what I think is, what we got in the first trailer for The Last Jedi, Luke saying that, this is the end of the Jedi, or whatever, the Jedi should end. I forgot exactly how he used the verbiage. But what I think is, Rey is going to be that beacon of hope, that light, that new hope, that resurrects the whole thing what's inside of Luke and says, you know what? I can create this new Jedi Order, and I can maintain it. And then, if Luke starts a new Jedi Council, he could just be there like Yoda was, like Mace Windu was. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we've got 2 movies, 2 whole fucking movies, because he's probably going to survive Last Jedi. We've got 2 whole fucking movies where he can teach and finish up that story and start whatever. We don't know anything about Episode 9.
No, I agree with that. No, I 100% agree with you. But what I'm saying is, as far as I wouldn't kill Luke off personally, because I think the end of Luke's journey, the end of Luke Skywalker's journey will happen in Episode 9. But what I'm saying by that is, I don't think he's going to die. I think his personal grievances, because Kylo turned on him. His nephew turned. So the way I'm looking at it, and again, we don't know because we haven't seen the movie yet. The way I look at it is, Luke thinks himself a failure because his nephew turned. He couldn't protect his family. He couldn't save his family the way he saved Vader, per se. Even though he didn't have to do much convincing to save Vader. Anakin's always been in the back of the mind. You know what I'm saying? As soon as Empire Strikes Back, I'm your father, fuck everything, join me, we'll kill the Emperor, we'll rule the galaxy. Anakin was always there. The problem was Anakin was always power hungry. You know what I'm saying? He always wanted the power. It didn't matter how he told Padme, we'll kill Palpatine, we'll rule the galaxy. That didn't work. He told Luke, we'll kill the Emperor, we'll rule the galaxy. That didn't work. But Anakin had the redemption when he saw his own son being fried by the Emperor and like, you know what? Nah, fuck this. And did the sacrifice. Luke didn't have to go down that path. So what I'm saying is he saw his apprentice turn, and whether or not it was Kylo who slaughtered, this Jedi order that Luke had put together, I think the end of Luke's story, his arc, ends with him coming to terms with what happened, and however they want to wrap it all up with Kylo, Rey, and Luke, because that's going to be the main thing. You know what I'm saying? Unless Chewbacca comes out of nowhere with a lightsaber and starts cutting heads off, which I doubt. But I think Luke can come out of this trilogy alive and with his story wrapped up, where if we do see him, let's say after episode 9, they say, okay, we got the Obi-Wan movie happening, but we're going to make 2 movies. Or let's even say they go trilogy. Who knows? Or let's say they do 2 movies, and then they'll do, let's say, 2 more standalone movies. And in the 5th year, they'll bring Star Wars back, the main story. By that time, if they do it in real time, Luke could have already established a new Jedi Order. He could be sitting at the head of the council, and he doesn't have to really do nothing much but just be the head Jedi. His story's done. Now everything comes down to we meet new characters. Rey's still around. Finn, hopefully. Poe, pretty pleased, because that's my favorite Star Wars character right now. We could take it from there. That's what I'm hoping for. Again, you might be absolutely 100% right. They might just kill him off. I don't like the idea of having to kill off the old guard. I had this conversation before episode 7 came out. I don't like the idea of killing off the old guard because I grew up with them. Those were my heroes. I don't want to see them die. I didn't like the way Han's death was handled. Regardless if, death just happens and that's what it is. I understand that. But Han Solo's been a part of the fucking world for 40 years. You know what I mean? 40 plus years. No, 40 years this year. It just felt wrong. I think they're going to handle Carrie Fisher really well and General Leia. They don't need to kill off Mark Hamill unless, for whatever reason, God forbid, Mark Hamill passes away naturally. But I think I think there's an opportunity for Luke beyond episode 9. Not in a capacity of what we're going to get now, but in a capacity of what we saw from the prequels and Yoda and Mace Windu and just the Jedi Council. That's just how I feel and what I hope for.
Sounds like fan fiction you might want to pitch to Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, fan fiction I might want to pitch. Oh, you know what? I can't wait to get there. You know what? You're going to make me Chris out on you, right? You're going to really... Because I was going to agree with some of the shit you was going to say about the next segment, but yeah, you're pressing those buttons. You know what? That's why Shin Godzilla sucked.
you raised some good points, but I don't know. I still think that at what point do you stop milking the OG trilogy?
But that's okay, and I got you, and I understand that. But you don't. That's my thing. You don't have to milk the OG trilogy because Luke Skywalker is there. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. In the video games, they had Star Wars Dark Forces, right? And Star Wars Dark Forces was a Doom-style Star Wars first-person shooter with Kyle Katarn as the lead protagonist. And I forgot the exact mission. I don't know if he was looking for the Death Star plans. I forgot exactly what it was. I don't know if it was a prequel to A New Hope or what, or after New Hope. I forget. But Mon Mothma sends him on a mission, whatever. I think it was actually after Return of the Jedi. Mon Mothma sends him on a mission, and Kyle Katarn is the main protagonist. Then you have Star Wars Dark Forces 2. I think it was Jedi Knight. Yep, it was. It was Jedi Knight, right? And in that game was another first-person shooter, which you can turn into a third person. And in that one, Kyle Katarn actually realizes he has Force sensibility. So now, I think you can do that in the first one too. I forget, but now you get to wield a lightsaber. Now you fight. I forgot the name of the Dark Jedi that they fought. But you do all this shit. They had an expansion pack with Mara Jade, all that. Then you get no more Star Wars Dark Forces. You get Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, right? Again, Cal Katarn, lead protagonist in the thing. This game was on GameCube. I own it. I love it. I play it all the time. You could switch between first and third person. You visit Bespin. It's all fun. At the end of that game, everything's said and done. Luke Skywalker's in there somewhere. Then you get Star Wars Jedi Knight 3 Jedi Academy. And this is what I mean. Luke Skywalker in that game is a Jedi Master. He runs the academy. He's training students. And that's it. I think there's 1 or 2 missions that Luke pops up on. But outside of that, you don't even need to do that. But use that as a basis. If you want to keep Luke alive, use that as a basis. Look, Luke is old. He's old. He's old in this movie. He'll be older if they want to do, let's say, 5 years from episode 9. Again, if Mark Hamill is even around. I feel in my heart he will be. He'll be in his 70s, I think. Maybe late 60s, early 70s. I'm not sure. But use him in that capacity. The focus doesn't have to be on Luke and what's happening with Luke. Luke could just be sitting at the council. I did it. I survived. And I made this. And you know what? It's thriving. Now there's another threat. And it's up to Rey, who is now the Luke Skywalker, the legit Luke Skywalker of the story, to go forth with a new breed of Jedi. I just hate to see characters that I grew up loving die. Example, Optimus Prime. Just saying. Just saying. You wouldn't like it if you saw Kevin Conroy's Batman bite the bullet. That would suck. You don't lie to me. I know you.
Well, I mean, there was that one episode of the animated series where Barbara Gordon died.
It was a great episode.
It
was a great episode. But we all know how that turned out. Fear toxin. So, but yeah, so that's just how I feel. I didn't want them to kill off Han Solo. They killed him off. I dealt with it. I'm over it. I still don't like the way they did it. We have the unfortunate passing of Carrie Fisher, so they have to deal with this situation. And even though, we had those podcasts previously about do they recast or do they just kill her off, I think Princess Leia, General Leia, I think they're going to take her out. You don't have to do that to Luke. You really don't. I just personally believe that he's so strong with the Force. I mean, think about it. Luke is possibly one of the greatest Jedis of all time. Unless he gives up, I don't think there's any way to beat him. And that's my whole point. I don't think he would give up in these situations coming up. And we don't know what these situations are just yet. But that's the fun of speculating and looking forward to all of that stuff. So, yeah. Unless you got anything other to say than kill Luke Skywalker, the floor is yours.
And kill Chewie, too.
God damn it, you! You're the fucking worst, man. I swear to God. What's Chris? Chris, I need you back. God damn. You're going to kick your ass out, man. You leave Chewie alone, man. Look, Chewie's death in the New Jedi Order, spoilers if you ain't read these books that are almost 20 years old now, that was heartbreaking.
It's still sad to me.
A fucking moon crushed him. Jesus Christ, that's insane. The Yuuzhan Vong, lovely. I love him. But yeah, so anything you want to add, or you're done with the Star Wars?
I'm good.
All right, I see it. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys listened to last Sunday's podcast or this past Sunday's podcast, Chris and myself, we reviewed It. We talked about It, the movie, Stephen King's the adaptation of a Stephen King novel. Chris hated it. He didn't like it. He didn't think it stayed to the source material much. I was down the middle. I didn't love it. I did not hate it. I liked it. I thought it was I. That's exactly my words. Not all right. I. You know what I'm saying? Like AIIGHT. I. That's how I felt. There were things I didn't like, and there was things that I did like about it. But overall, it was, to me, just an I movie. So Chris hated it. I was split down the middle. Matt, you love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why, especially now that I've seen It. So I want you to please explain to me what makes this movie a top 5, maybe top 3 in your book?
Definitely not top 3. But I would go as far to say that I more than loved it. Every point that Chris brought up, I feel the exact opposite about. Like, I would know if Chris was here to defend himself, like I was, gone for the last one. But yeah, I thought it was awesome. It was a fantastic story. It was a great adaptation. Pennywise was, Bill Skarsgård knocked it out of the park. I loved him. It was just, mesmerized whenever him or the kids were on screen. I thought the cinematography and the atmosphere was fantastic. But there were a couple things that I didn't love. I agreed with you guys about Mike totally pushed off into the background. That felt unnecessary. Even in I saw it twice. And the first time, I even realized hey, where's Mike? He should be there. I also felt like Ben and Stanley were also kind of pushed to the background a little bit too. They didn't have as much focus.
Stanley definitely not, but Ben had that moment where he basically took over the mic role.
Yeah, true. He had that just for a quick exposition dump, but the whole third act, except for the thing with Bev at the end and kissing her, he didn't say this. He didn't really say anything. He was just kind of there, which I felt was not great. And more than anything, I didn't find it particularly scary.
It wasn't scary at all. Yeah,
really disappointed me because I was really, perfect creepy atmosphere. All the recipes for good horror, but it just wasn't scary to me. It's not like that the scares in the movie really failed. It's that, or they just, I don't know what it was, but something about it just, it wasn't scary to me.
Well, I kind of
every time
there
a jump scare or whatever, it'd be like, ooh, spooky, but not really scary. It was unnerving, but that was about it.
And I think that a lot of it, like what I said on Sunday, for me, a lot of it felt like here's a scare, but then here's a laugh to lighten up the load. And it's just no, but this is... Look, to me, if James Wan directed this movie, it would have been fucking downright in my top 5. Because...
See, I love James Wan. I love everything he's done, but he has a habit of shoving, making a very dark and sinister first 2 acts, and then the third act awkwardly shoving in comedy. He did it with the paranormal investigators in Insidious and in The Conjuring.
See, but I don't remember that in The Conjuring. The Conjuring 1, with the exception of the cop who didn't believe in anything, I totally bought that, because if you're a skeptic and you think that this is phony as it is, and then shit starts to happen to you, yeah, that's funny.
No, the paranormal investigators, that were cracking jokes too.
Really? It was just the cop and the little Chinese guy. That's all I remember.
The investigators, they were doing it too. And I mean, I don't, as much as I love The Conjuring and the first 2 Insidious movies, I don't think those should be the template for horror. Those are great horror movies, but
here we are in this day and age, in all honesty. But in this day and age, those are the movies that actually scare people. Those are
but that's not the only thing that scares people. There's other things out there that's not the only horror that works, and I don't think horror should be put in a box like that.
No, I agree with you there, but I mean, what I guess what I'm trying to say is, The Conjuring really reinvented horror the way, let's say, Saw did. Let's say Blair Witch almost did. Think about Blair Witch for a minute. Getting that found footage feel. I think that was the first found footage movie, right? Blair Witch. It was downright...
Up for debate. Cannibal Holocaust was kind of the first.
Okay, so then let me rephrase that. The first mainstream found footage movie. Because I didn't even know what Cannibal Holocaust was until like way later. You know what I'm saying? But Blair Witch, the promotion and the marketing was so well done. And it was like, this is scary. Is this real or is it not real? Like, nobody knew when that movie came out. Unless you were really, like, doing your research. So if you go see that movie, you think it's real. You're like, holy shit, it's crazy. And then later on you find out, nah, it was just a movie. Ha, cool. Way to go. But it kind of reinvented the genre. Then everybody did this found footage shit, right? The same thing, like I said, with Saw. You got Saw, and then all of a sudden you get Final Destination, this schlock, like snuff horror. I don't like any of that shit. That torture porn shit, I'm okay without it. Hostel, all that. Goodbye. And that had its fad. Then you had, let's say, Paranormal Activity, which kind of, I can't lie, like the first two, like, creeped me the fuck out. Anything after that, I wasn't scared at all. I was actually bored. I watched them up until I didn't watch the one with the cult or whatever. I forgot. With the Mexican kid. I didn't watch that one because I was just done with the series. But then The Conjuring comes around, and again, once it kind of reinvents it, brings it back to being scary and paranormal and really freaky. And I think that's what Pennywise is, especially in the first chapter, to these children. He's their fears manifest. And I want to see that because, you know, as a geek, and this is the Geek Out podcast, our fears would be what some of these kids' fears were when we were children. You know what I'm saying? So I want to sit there and I want to get all butt clenched in the theater like, oh, shit. And this movie was kind of like, I tell you, I only jumped one time. When he pops up out of the screen, that freaked me out. I didn't see that coming. But everything else, I was sitting there like, when he bites Georgie's arm off, I was sitting there, I was like, wow, that was the telegraph like a mile away. Like, ugh. There was no oomph to it. Graphic scene. And I'll be honest, like I said in that first podcast, I thought that when Georgie was murdered, that opening scene, I was scared. Because I was like, that just set a tone. And then it never, for me personally, never followed that tone. And I liked the movie. I did. I came out of that movie saying, you know what? I'm not mad at it. I'll own that movie when it comes out on Blu-ray. I'll buy it. But, like, I didn't love it. Like, I loved The Conjuring 1 and 2 because it scared the fuck out of me. I just liked this movie because it was a couple of cool-looking shots of something evil. But then, you know, and I agree. Skarsgård's performance was great. Children's was great. I'm just like, it didn't scare me. It didn't scare me, and it should have scared the fuck out of me. So I'm sorry. I went on a tangent.
But that's not, you know, it not being scary doesn't mean it's still not a great movie. Because it is. There's plenty of horror movies out there that are fantastic that aren't scary. They're just not scary. Either they don't hold up or they don't, you know, they just aren't particularly scary.
Give me two examples.
Halloween, not scary.
Okay, Halloween, though. Halloween was the birth of the slasher film, right? What came first, Halloween or... Halloween did, because Friday 13 came out, what, 80 or 81? So Halloween came first. Okay, different type of chill and thrill, though. We're not dealing with a supernatural entity here. We're dealing with a psychopath with a knife in a jumpsuit wearing a mask. That's what we're dealing with. Then he gets shot, and then at the end, he's gone, and the music hits, and that's all awesome. But in that time that we saw Halloween, it was made for that time. So that slasher mode is a scary situation. We see Halloween, well, let me rephrase that. When you see Halloween, because I'm still closer to that time than you were. You were, what, 20 years later? Let's say? Right? I don't even want to say give up your age, but you were, you know, that movie's been around for a while by the time you got to see it. You know? You were able to see horror movies of your time and then compare it to Halloween, whereas Halloween was the movie of its time. You know what I mean?
Well, then I'll give two contemporary examples.
Okay, good, yeah.
Get Out, not scary.
I didn't see that yet. Okay.
Trying to think of something else that's come out in the last couple of years. I don't know, The Shallows, I guess.
Oh, come on, man. Oh, we reaching here now. We're reaching. You might as well fish with your mouth like a goony goo goo Sasquatch.
All right.
Conjuring
2, not scary.
Conjuring 2 is scary. Don't give me that shit.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. Conjuring 2 is scary.
No.
You're bugging. Conjuring 2 is absolutely scary.
I walked out of that theater saying the same thing I said when I walked out of It was, wow, that was a good movie, but I wish it was scarier.
That movie's scary. You're crazy. That movie's scary. It has the nun is freakier than Pennywise. The nun is freakier than the fake nun they used in It. And let's be for real here. It was the fake nun. The nun is scarier than the leper. The nun is scarier than... What else was there? The mummy at the end. Like, that's all Pennywise turned into, really. The nun was scarier than all that shit. The nun actually make you jump out your seat like, oh, Jesus Christ. The nun is fucking scary. Now again, here's the thing. You're of a different breed, whereas you embrace the dark. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of people do. I like that. I won't say I embrace the dark, but I like them dark horror movies. But The Nun still scares me. The Conjuring 2 still scares me. The Conjuring 2 had the Crooked Man. That's scary. That's scarier than anything in It.
No, the Crooked Man I just thought was ridiculous.
The Crooked Man.
It's not an apples to apples comparison. I'm not saying one is scarier than the other. I'm not saying Conjuring 2 is scarier than It, or vice versa. I'm just saying neither were scary to me.
For you, right? I get that, but so in that regard, for me, Conjuring 2 was scarier because it was more like, again, it wasn't comedic. And I take nothing away from It on that comedic tip because you had Finn Wolfhard, I think that's his name, right? He absolutely nailed that role, and his comedic timing was perfect. Then you had the hypochondriac, who again was another one that just had this comedic timing. But then you had shit like Pennywise in a fantastic scene in the basement with Bill, and little Georgie is saying, "You'll float too."
Okay, I know where you're going with this, and I'm going to stop you right there.
Go ahead.
I saw the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to the podcast.
Yep.
I saw the movie again.
Yep.
And can confirm 100% Pennywise does not say ow.
He goes, "Oh."
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. There is an audible groan that comes out of his mouth when his mouth hits those stairs. Yes, there is. Nope. Because my daughter, and I'll tell you why, because my daughter, who was sitting right next to me, is scared out of her wits. Because at a 13-year-old, seeing her first horror movie on the big screen, she was scared out of her wits. But when she saw that, she laughed. Because of that, she laughed. So maybe I need to go back. But I could absolutely... But again, it's kind of like a comedy. Because when he hits... Even his eyes do like a certain like goofy gimmick. It didn't feel vicious. It didn't feel scary.
Off fondantly as he does through the whole movie.
Say that again?
There's no gimmick. His eyes do the same thing. They're the whole cockeyed thing.
No. Okay, but like I said in the podcast, and the reaction that Pennywise gives in that particular scene, when and not the beginning. Like I said, it's a fantastic scene up until he hits the steps. It plays to the audience where it should not play to the audience. It shouldn't. We're not supposed to be in this world. So it kind of was like Pennywise now is like the clown being a clown. Bill's already upstairs. Bill's up in his room under the blankets. Like, he booked. He was gone. And that's why I was like, like everybody in the theater laughed. And I was like, why are we... I laughed. I laughed too. But why are we laughing at this? This is up until that point, this is an absolutely terrifying scene. From Georgie decomposing in front of his brother's face to you seeing Pennywise using Georgie as a puppet, smashing him into the floor, and then running at him. Like, that is a truly horrifying sequence. And then it ended with everybody laughing. And I was sitting there like, why are we laughing? Why? Like, it didn't make sense. That's my point. There's something goofy about it, and it doesn't make any sense for them to put it there. It's like I said, it's like a Dr. Seuss horror film. Why are we doing this? Why? I didn't read the source material, but from what I know,
I think maybe things were a bit different for you over there in fantastic Vegas land, because nobody in either of the theaters I went to laughed at that scene.
It's probably just you and your friends there, though. I mean, like, there was like 35, 40 people in this.
Pretty packed theaters.
No, well, I had a theater full of laughing people. That's why I brought that up, because that stood out. Like, I made a mental note of that. I was like, what the fuck? But again, like all the other things that weren't funny, like Pennywise for the most part wasn't funny. He was scary. He was downright, like, again, played to their fears, and I enjoyed that. I was just wondering, when am I going to feel a sense of dread? I never felt that. Maybe it's because I know the source material, not by reading the book, but by knowing the miniseries. But I just never felt a sense of dread the way I felt like in the Conjuring movies. I didn't see the Insidious movies. I have to really get on my game and watch those. But like a good horror movie is going to have my heart pounding. In the beginning of this movie, my heart was pounding. After that, nothing. There were really good visuals. I agree with you there, 100%. Some of the cinematography was great. I think one of my favorite shots of the whole movie was when Mike opened up the door and saw Pennywise hanging in the meat locker, and then he just like steps down and his eyes glow. I fucking love that. That's a sense of dread that is scary. But nothing comes from that. Then you have Pennywise eating a hand and waving it at Mike, and I was just like, I get it. Tim Curry was like that too. But Tim Curry was a little more sinister with his deliveries. Whereas the only time I felt any type of sinister aspects from Pennywise was with Georgie. That's just me, though. Like I said, I liked the movie. I didn't hate it. But I didn't love it the way you loved it. Like, to me, it was like middle of the road. A nice...
Well, I don't really feel like I'm being given a chance to really go into why I like it and why you and Chris are wrong, too.
Did you read the source material? You read the book, right?
Nope.
No? You didn't read the book?
No, I have.
Oh, okay. All right. So you've read the book. And this is why I wanted you to be on that podcast, so I could sit here and listen to both of your arguments.
Like, I think it's ridiculous to, like, because obviously as you guys talked about in your podcast, there's some things you can't do in the book.
Right.
Or do in the movie.
Right.
A lot of stuff. I mean, there's the scene.
The scene.
Yeah. And then there's some other stuff with some of the things that the bullies do. I don't know if I should go into it or not, but I mean, it's not quite as shocking as that, but it's still significant that it can't be translated into film. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, that goes for certain scares or certain elements of the. It's already over 2 hours. It's over 2 hours long. And so we're now supposed to have these kids do this thing and set up this whole magical seance ceremony thing to get rid of Pennywise. Like, no, I mean, can't. There's just not enough time for that. Maybe we could bring it in part 2, but who knows? I don't know. I don't like the comparison of that's not how it was in the book. I don't think it works for this. I don't think it works for pretty much any book to film adaptation, unless it was something like really left field and drastic.
Right.
Like, I feel like you think there's a lot of people who went to go see that like Exodus movie that Ridley Scott did a couple of years ago, and when all the ridiculous stuff that he put in there that wasn't actually in the Bible, do you think there's a lot of people going, that's not how it was in the Bible?
But that movie didn't really make money either. You know what I'm saying? It made $123 million opening weekend. That's ridiculous. I love it. I mean, and that's great for it. I think it deserves it. I do. Again, I didn't hate the movie. Like, Really, Scott's movie didn't make that. And the Bible bumpers or whatever you want to call them went to see that. I didn't see that shit. Not my type.
Still, I mean, I don't think just because it's not how it was exactly in the book, or they took some things out or took some creative liberties, that doesn't mean it's a bad movie or a bad adaptation. It's still faithful to the core of the source material. It still has all the major story beats. The characters are fundamentally the same.
Except for Mike.
Except for Mike, yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that one. But still, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was just fantastic. It was... I'm not mad that it's not scary. That's not a complaint. That's something I just wish was more in the forefront, because it had this atmosphere throughout the whole thing that was very creepy and very unsettled, and I was very unnerved through a good part of it. But so that kind of makes up for the whole lack of scary thing.
Okay, I see your point. I just think the trailers were scarier than the movie, and if the trailer is going to be scary, then I want a scary movie, and the movie's not scary, and I'm like, ugh. I mean, and again, I don't know the source material, so I didn't read the book. I'm going to, and not because of what they left out, or I just want to see how the book, because it's Stephen King, and I'm sure there's some scary shit, or shit that could have been translated to scream that would have screamed scary. Like I said, Georgie's death scene was done so well, like it fucked me up, and to me it set a tone that I just never felt after that point. After whatever 8-9 minutes into the movie, I never felt that dread anymore, not once. When that bully got killed, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it was some zombies. Cool, zombies are in this movie. I like that, and that was it. But after that, it was just like I never felt scared. I wasn't unnerved, and I don't know if it's due to my age, but like I just said, you say Conjuring 2 didn't scare you. Conjuring 2 scared the shit out of me. So, that's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? I'm looking for something, and I thought would be the perfect vehicle. It didn't do it for me, but 123 million opening weekend is a phenomenal number, considering I think this movie was, 20 million, 30 million to make, I think? 35 million to make. So, yeah, that's gorgeous. That just means double the budget. We need a giant kaiju in the next one. It's what it is. And I know they're going to do flashbacks. So we're going to get the kids back, and that's a good thing because the kids are really good. The kids are really, really good. But, yeah, I mean, again, I really wish we had the opportunity for you and Chris to go back and forth with your points. Because like I said, I agree with you on some of the things, and I agree with Chris on some of the things. I'll see y'all halfway. I like the movie. It's aight. I just don't love it, but I don't hate it either. I wasn't scared. I wanted to be scared. I really wanted to be scared. Now, the next scary movie to come out is Saw. I'm not going to see that bullshit. Get out of here. I didn't like any of the other ones. I never seen them. It's just not my cup of tea. You keep that. Nah. I'll watch the Poseidon Adventure. But yeah.
Primarily, I was mostly just enthralled with Bill Skarsgård's performance. I thought he nailed it just perfectly. Like, I don't know, something about him really just stuck with me. His whole demeanor, he acted just as I always imagined Pennywise would, because I always thought Tim Curry went too big with it. Like, he was too bombastic. It was kind of more like the Joker, honestly. Which was weird, because he voiced the Joker for like 3 episodes in the animated series, and then got replaced by Mark Hamill.
I ain't mad.
But yeah, I don't know. He was creepy. I mean, I'm not comparing the two, but yeah, he was. I thought he nailed the Pennywise of the book. He has this childish way about him, but he's still very creepy, and I liked the the way he spoke. I mean, yeah, I would agree that the Georgie scene is the best scene in the whole movie. It's just, to me, the scariest, to set the tone. The whole, I totally agree with you on that. Set the tone, and the rest of the movie didn't quite hit that peak, but I still love it.
So let me ask you, being that you read the book and Chris read the book and I didn't read the book, something Chris said that I want to hear your take on. He said that Pennywise in the book was really angry at these kids. He was like really vindictive because they figured him out. And he said that Pennywise, Tim Curry's Pennywise, kind of brought that. Now, when you say he was really bombastic, I agree with you on that point. I think he was bombastic because he is the star of that miniseries, not because of it, but because he was the biggest star in that miniseries when it comes down to like the kids in the first one, or the adults. I don't know. Maybe some of them got claim to fame later, but Tim Curry was, in a lot of shit. Clue, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Legend. You know what I mean? That was him.
Seth Green was one of the kids.
Seth Green was one of the kids?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I gotta look at that shit again. I didn't even know that. My son.
Yes, he was actually the tallest of all the kids. I just thought that was a little, because he's really short.
He's really short. Really. That is funny. But so then my question to you is, Chris said that Tim Curry nailed that vindictive nature towards the children, where he didn't see that from Skarsgård at all, and that's not Skarsgård's fault. That's the script's fault. They went a different way. But do you agree with that?
That Tim Curry got that right?
Yeah. Or, like the vindictive nature, like he was going at these kids, like he did not like these kids.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen a miniseries, so I don't remember exactly everything that happens in it. But overall, no, I don't particularly see it. Just because he got like more aggressive with these kids doesn't mean he. I don't know. I don't totally see it. I think his performance was too over the top and kind of cheesy for me to take really too seriously, and for me to take, like, the reason why people hold the miniseries to such a high regard is because most of us saw it when we were kids. You said, didn't you say you saw it when you were a kid?
Yeah, I was 11 or 12.
Yeah, Chris said he saw it around that same age. I saw it around that same age. A lot of people said that, they've seen it between the ages like 6 and 12. And so, that's kind of formative for a kid, seeing something so kind of jarring and sort of like an evil monster aimed at children, plus the internet pushing Tim Curry to godlike status in the last few years. Like, he's basically a deity on the internet. Tim Curry can do no wrong. So people kind of hold that in such a high regard just because of the nostalgia factor. And truth be told, it doesn't hold up. That miniseries is not great. It's hard to get through, and it's silly. It doesn't stand the test of time. I mean, not taking anything away from it, it was good for what it is, but it doesn't hold up. It doesn't represent the book.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that the miniseries is the greatest thing of all time. I definitely will not. The movie's better than that. But the miniseries was on network television. It's not. It's a rated R book. It's a rated X book in some sequences. You can't get away with PG-13 on television. Especially in 1990. So for them, I think like they didn't even show Georgie really die. Like I don't remember. I just remember Tim Curry grabbing his arm, and then like his mouth open.
A little girl that died.
Oh right, then, in the beginning.
Yeah, the girl got pulled through the sewer, and then they find a picture of Georgie, like in the sewer or something like that.
No. They show Georgie. Pennywise, they do that. Pennywise grabs Georgie's arm, and then his mouth opens up real wide. But where with this movie, Georgie reaches in and then Pennywise's mouth opens and clams down on the arm. I don't think they showed the arm getting bit off in the miniseries.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so and they definitely didn't show Georgie decomposing into a zombie when he's screaming, "You'll float too." But the miniseries did have Georgie with a missing arm. You know, like if I'm not mistaken, during that scene. So there's back and forths, but the miniseries really couldn't get away with a lot because, of course, FCC restrictions. So, but I just think Tim Curry was a sinister portrayal of Pennywise, and I'm not taking nothing away from Bill Skarsgård because I really did like him.
I can't get over, like, I can't take him seriously. I can't take the part where he climbs up like a light post and talks into the camera and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you" or whatever, because that's just fucking silly. He's talking to the audience, and like it's like I don't care if he's Tim Curry. I don't care if he's it seems super sinister. It's silly.
Or, and again, I didn't read the source material, but he's an extra dimensional being who knows that this universe is this tiny little thing in his hands when it comes down to it. So he is talking to us as he is something not from this world, a Lovecraftian type horror.
Yeah, he is.
I could buy that.
That didn't come through
when you were 6. When you were 6.
When you were 6, yeah. When you're 6, that seems spooky, but it's just not.
I gotcha. Well, I don't know when we're gonna get a chance to have this awesome debate with Chris because I really do want the back and forth. But we're gonna wrap this up here. We'll probably get to do it when we do our year-end reviews and our top 10s of the year. We still got a ton of shit coming out. Thor's coming soon. Justice League's coming soon. And, of course, Star Wars coming soon. Before all that, I mean, it's probably not going to be in everybody's top list, but Kingsman's right around the corner. So, but that'll do it for us on this very impromptu episode of the Geek Out Special Report. G95 Matt, I want to say thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad I finally got to do this.
Absolutely, and hopefully you guys pay attention. Love that you geeked out with us, and hopefully you geek out with us again on Sunday, and we'll get Matt and Chris on the same podcast yelling at each other about it. I'm G1, and we are out of here. Peace.